Doc and Darryl is ESPN's latest 30 for 30 documentary. It premieres tonight at 9 p.m. on ESPN and documents the rise and fall of two Met legends, Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden, and how they are living their lives now. Straw was here yesterday as we showed you part one. In today's part two, he talks about his upbringing and Lenny Dykstras' book. Here's part two of our conversation with Darryl Strawberry.
How about, you mentioned some of the mistakes you made, some of the things you were doing. What was the height of craziness for you? Was it while you were in New York? And when you look back, how much did it affect you as a player? Yeah,
it was in my career in New York. You know, the marriages and being married and running around cheating and having other relationships and you know, then I got addicted to amphetamines, you know, through that period of 86 and on. I started taking them every day. I needed them. You know, even my free agent year, I was, you know, probably that's why I was so good. You know, I was taking amphetamines every night to play, and you know, the ball looked like I can't describe coming in, and I was just crushing the ball, and I was having good years, and I thought these things would last. But we don't realize that, you know, that lifestyle and start, you know, you're taking something, eventually it's just going to start to affect you in some kind of way. It's just like steroids, you know, they start to affect you in some kind of way. You know, people don't think it does at the beginning, but you're going to pay the price somewhere down the line, and I started paying the price, and I started slowing down, and then I went out to, and the worst move I ever made in my life was going to California, you know, to play for the Dodgers and leaving New York and leaving the Mets, or could have stayed in New York and played. That was the worst decision I ever made. It wasn't personal. It wasn't the Dodgers, you know, it was me, you know, and I went out there, and then I got deeply into the drugs, you know, and before I knew it, I started having all kind of problems. Had back problem, had this problem, and life just spiraled out of control. How about that 86 team? It's still revered around here. You just had the reunion, but it's well documented, all the party and everything went on there. But what was the relationship like with that team? Because it was still a special team. I mean, we know, you know, you and Keith went at it picture day one day.
You and Wally Backman had words. I mean,
words with everybody.
What was the bond that kept you guys together?
We were animals, you know. You know, just the, you know, I love it. I love that group of guys. You know, yeah, I probably didn't like half of them then. They probably didn't like me, you know. And I said that before, but we were animals inside of ourselves that we believed in each other. You know, when we stepped on the field, there was no doubt about it, because everybody that came into Shea Stadium and everywhere we went, people hated us. And when they came into Shea Stadium to play against us, they realized that, you know, we were real. You know, we're gonna fight. We're gonna do whatever it takes. You know, we may fight against each other, but when we got on the field, you didn't want to mess with us. And you know, we had this swagger about us. We had this, you know, cockiness about us, confidence about us. You know, we just believed in ourselves. Our fans gave us the energy coming to the park every night, and we were a team. That's what it was. We were animals, but we were a team. We wasn't that deep embedded in where we against each other. We talked about each other behind each other's back and stuff like that. But all right, when we stepped on the field, it was on. You know, you're going to have to beat us. And that's just the way we looked at it as a group of guys playing here in New York.
Speaking of animals on that team, that's your word, that's not mine. Your buddy Lenny Dykstras has been going around town with a book a little bit. Wild stories, threw Davey under the bus a little bit, saying that he was drinking and that was affecting his managing. Some of your old teammates there have weighed in on that. What were your thoughts on Lenny's book and the whole publicity to it? Well,
I haven't read the book, but I know Lenny. I love Lenny. I love all those guys now. You know, when I look back and you think about us, because we were really close and we accomplished a lot of great things. And, you know, I would never put, you know, Davey in a situation like that, because Davey was a great manager. He was a great man to play for. He allowed us to be what we became. You know, Frank Cashin was a great general manager. He built the team, the front office. He built the team. He wanted us all to drink milk.
Didn't exactly work out that way.
Didn't work out that way.
Davey knew better.
Davey knew better. Davey said, "Let my boys be boys," and you know, and he allowed us to be boys. I don't know why any player would take things personal against Davey, because I think Davey allowed us to have the kind of fun that we needed to have at that time as a player, and I respect Davey for that.
You and Doc obviously were so talented. You were so great, and the career didn't go as far as everybody thought because of the demons and everything you guys went through. Do you think on a daily basis now, still, about what could have been, which is still somewhat what this documentary is about, what could have been for both of you guys? And even you've talked on this show before about how if you had had a different family support system growing up, like Derek Jeter, you had told us, that it would have been a whole different situation. Do you think if you guys had different upbringings, what might have been?
Well, I think so, and that's what the film shows, you know, because I was scarred already before I got to the big leagues. You know, my dad was alcoholic, he beat me and said I'd never amount to anything. And, you know, I remember him coming home, pulling out a shotgun for the last time when I was 13, saying he was going to kill the whole family. And we went into action almost a tragedy before I even started. So I was scarred before. My pain led me to my greatness, and my greatness led me to my destructive behavior. And I think the same thing happened for Dwight. Well, I don't know what his story household was like, but I know it was some real pain inside of himself to lead him down the road to drift off, because I did the same thing. I drifted off, and because I was in pain, but the greatness of me allowed me to be great on the field, but at the same time it led to the destructive behavior. As further as I went in my life, the deeper I got into the trouble of life, you know, and I start seeing things from a different perspective, because I didn't have that background of like a Derek Jeter. You know, he had a great mom, great family. They're together, they were there, and not saying anybody's perfect, but, you know, he came through that kind of, molded that kind of way, so that allowed him to see clear. I never got the chance to deal with my pain. You know, I had to deal with it on the way I acted on the baseball field, the way I acted towards people. And I hurt a lot of people, and I wasn't that kind of a person. My mom raised me well, but I just, you know, I was hurting, and I hurt a lot of people and said a lot of wrong things and did a lot of wrong things to a lot of people because I was in so much pain. And I wish I would have had a different growing up, and I think it would have made a lot of difference in my performance and learning to get rest. You know, I mean, if I just learned how to get some rest, Harp, you know, you should have told me to go to bed and go to sleep. You should have said, Straw, you're so good, go to bed, go to sleep.
Well, do you ever look at quickly before you go, do you ever look at the record books and what people, you know, all these guys who have more homers than you, and you're like, I'm better than this guy. If I had taken care of myself, I would have dwarfed all these guys.
No, I really never thought of that. You know, I know I had decent numbers, good numbers in my career, and I just thought to myself, had I known, just like Mickey Mantle has said, had I known how good I really was, I'd have took better care of myself. I just didn't know. So guess what? That just led me out into the wilderness, and I stayed out there too long. So it brought the demons around, and that brings about destructive behavior. I don't care who you are. I'm just grateful that I didn't die.
Yeah, and I think all Met fans are thrilled you're back from the wilderness. At this point, sports fans as well, everybody can tell this is very powerful stuff. The 30 for 30, 9 o'clock on ESPN. Straw, thanks so much. Stop by anytime.
Right. Thanks, man. Great seeing you guys, man. It's a
Good
pleasure,
seeing
man.
you guys, too. Take care, Straw.
I can't reach you guys,
Thanks,
but give me some
Straw.
tap. Good to see you guys.
Always.
Straw.
Always.